Hello and welcome everyone. In this chapter, we are going to discuss about OSPF authentications. So let's get started. So take an example right now. Say we have, let's say, our routers here. Let's say normally we are connecting two routers here. So normally when router A wants to form the neighbor relationship with router B, and if you have configured the OSPF in both of the routers, so basically routers will go ahead and they will exchange the hello packet, and by exchanging the hello packet, routers will go ahead and they will form the neighbor relationship as well. The point is, whenever the routers are exchanging the hello packet, by default there is no password associated with the hello packet. If you want, you can go ahead and associate the password with every hello packet, and that's where we talk about OSPF authentication process. Now make sure in OSPF the authentications field will be available in hello packet. So both the side you need to configure the same password so that they will be able to form the neighbor relationship. For example, I can go ahead and configure the authentication. Let's say I'm configuring a password here, and password is, let's say, 123. It is very much important that you configure the password here also, and it has to be same like 123 only. It's very much important. Make sure there is two different type of password implementation in OSPF we have. One is clear text format, and another one is cipher text format, encrypted format. So basically clear text in the sense when the hello packet is being exchanged between the routers, it will be in the clear text, like 123 and 123 should match. And if you capture the packet here, of course you can go ahead and see that in the packets this password. But in case if you go ahead and implement the secured password, which is basically called as MD5, message digest version 5, encrypted one, where if you configure the password as 123, this 123 will get converted into some specific characters like 0, then hashtag, @ dollar symbol, like this it will get converted. And it is important that you must configure the same MD5 here as well with the same values like 1 to 3. So if you configure this again, this password also will get converted into same MD5 value, and this value must match to this value, then they will form the neighbor relation set. So make sure there are two ways. This is the first way where the clear text, the passwords will be in clear text format. This is the second way where you will find the encrypted password implementations between the routers. So this is some kind of security which you can implement with OSPF authentication feature. Now, just to have quick more understanding, let's move ahead and see that. So as I discussed, OSPF supports two type of authentications. Of course, the two type of authentication methods is your clear test, which is nothing but your plain test, and then you have MD5 authentications. Just read that, it's very important. Routers will accept the routing information from other routers that have the configured with the same password and authentication information. It's like if you have configured clear test format, you must configure clear test here. If you have configured MD5, there should be MD5. So make sure, the very important point is passwords should match between the routers, and also the method should match between the router, then only they will form the neighbor relationship. Now let's move ahead and see that how exactly you can go ahead and implement. So here is the commands quickly. Say this, if you want to configure this particular authentication in OSPF, say for example clear test 1, so the method is very simple. The routers are connected to another routers with some of the interfaces. For example, let's say this is my serial 0 and let's say this is my serial 1. So in this particular router A, you need to configure the authentication under serial 0, and in router B under serial 1 you must configure this. Make sure the configuration is very simple. Go to the interface and define the commands IPOSPF authentication, and then next command IPOS authentication key, and key is basically your password. This is basically the password. You can define anything. Say for example, I am giving Cisco here. You can define something like CCNA, CCI, the value which will be considered as a password. Make sure this command you need to configure in this router as well as in this router. Then only both the routers will form the neighbor relationship. Same thing when it comes to MD5 also, it's the same process. In both the routers you need to implement this command. Under interface mode you need to define IP OSPF authentication and then message digest. MD5 is nothing but message digest command. And then IP OSPF message digest key, and then you will define the key number like 1 2 3 4 some number. Let's say I'm giving 1, and then MD5 and then the value, as for example let's say Cisco. So while configuring the MD5 authentication you need to define key ID, let's say some number like 1, and key password string, that is nothing but I'm giving here as Cisco in this. And make sure this configurations you need to perform in both the routers at the same time. Okay, so make sure you have two different method, any one you can go ahead and use between the routers to implement the OSPF authentications. Any one we can use it. So that's it for this particular lectures. I will see you in the next lecture with the demo. Thank you. See you.